Hi, I'd like to welcome Garry Kasparov, and we are very pleased that you are taking part on this discussion as part of the Global Chess Festival. So we're going to have about half an hour discussion to talk about your life and journey of success. I remember the first time we met, it was 1988 in Thessaloniki at the Olympiad, and of course it was very memorable for me for many different reasons. First of all, because we won the gold medal, but of course partly the great memories is connected to you, as one of the special moments for me was when I heard that you were standing behind my back watching one of my games which I won. And the other one, of course, when actually we had a walk after round 10, I think, with the family and you, and we were having a discussion. So that was kind of very unique and special. And it was interesting. There is a little report was recorded by a Hungarian reporter after we won the Olympiad. And I don't know if you've seen this report where the reporter asked you what do you think about my play and what kind of potentials do I have? And instantly you said that, of course, she's going to be a world champion. And when the reporter asked you do you see yourself playing against Judit one day, you said, well, I don't think so. There is nothing against Judit, but in principle, you don't think that women are able to go on the highest level. But then you corrected yourself, of course, almost impossible. And then years later, we finally got the first game against each other, and then many more. So the first question would be very straight, that how do you see women in chess and their potentials generally in the chess world?
Thank you very much, Judith, for reminding me of these great moments in Thessaloniki. That was one of my best chess Olympiads also. I mean, my memory is not, as bad as you could expect from my age, but there's no chance I can recollect which game I was watching because you won all the games. Unless I'm wrong, I think you won all the games, yes, on the tournament.
I made one draw actually.
You made one draw. Okay, that's I wasn't sure, but it was an exceptional result, and I have to admit that it was very impressive. It's it's not just playing well. I mean, we saw many great female players, but I didn't have to be sort of a great expert in the game of chess to recognize that you were different, because the energy and the concentration that definitely separated you from the rest of the field. Now, I was quite skeptical about females players ever becoming world champion. By the way, I was right. So this no female player is number one on the rating list. At one point, I even said I would rather concede to a computer than to a female player. Unfortunately, I was right. I guess I would rather do it the opposite way. But that's this prediction went well. But speaking about the general level of women chess, no doubt, it made a tremendous progress, because going back to the 60s, I think the 60s, when Bobby Fischer was boasting that he could give an extra piece to any female player and still beat them, I don't think that even Magnus today would be comfortable giving a pawn to a really strong female player. Probably a pawn, yes, but still, it's maybe due to his overconfidence. But clearly, we saw the gap that closed quite dramatically, but there's still a gap. I mean, statistically, when you look at top 100 players, I'm not sure who you find technically makes it, but I think she's the only one who could be on the top 100 by rating today. Am I correct?
But yeah, I think so. But what do you think? What is the reason for that women are not excelling?
By the way, that puts you on totally different. It's a different category, because you are an exception, absolute exception. And I remember when I played you and was convincingly beaten in Moscow at this Russia versus the world rapid match. And the people asked me, how did I feel of losing to a female player? I said, I didn't lose to a female player. I lost to number 15 in the world, or whatever your number was at the time, one of the best players. So, I mean, I always, since our first game, which was obviously, a bit tight because, you were really young and and it was extra pressure. I remember, there's the similar feelings when I played Maya Chiburdanidzhe in 1980 in Baku. But obviously, the difference in strengths was quite formidable between what I could expect from Maya in 1980 and from you in 1994. Ever since, I view you as just, one of my colleagues, and I just didn't make any difference because it was not about gender; it was about strengths, and your strengths was, such that you could beat any player, as you proved, at the highest level. And I'm not here just to analyze, the reasons. What we know that is no one came even close to repeat your accomplishments. And looking at the current field, I would be very surprised in the next few years we'll see another Judit Polgar rising to the top of the world chess. Whether it's a part, of some kind of, psychological restrictions because it's more difficult to concentrate, I don't know. The last thing I want is just to be harshly criticized at the era of political correctness of saying something that people don't like. I rather stick on the ground of facts, and facts are that right now we don't see any female player coming even close to your strength.
Well, my theory is that one of the problem with girls is that the parents and coaches are not having the same expectations at the very early ages from boys. Do you share this view, or you have something else?
Look, naturally, when we look at any phenomenon like that's the one we're discussing now, it's you should always look at the societal challenges because we're talking about hundreds, if not thousands, of years of very different arrangements for women. And you can hardly expect to compensate for hundreds of years of all forms of suppression, by 50 years of emancipation. So it definitely takes time. And the attitude towards girls and female players is also quite different especially at early age, where girls, as you said, not the same kind of expectations. But still, at the same time, it's not just coaches, but it's also you look at the parents, and when you glance at the under 8, under 10, under 12, events, you see probably 40-60 proportion, not exactly equal, but you have many girls, and with age, you can see the number is sharply declining. So there's less and less girls are staying in the field. And it could clearly be seen in the United States where they have the joint competitions, and so you could see that this is with age, the less and less female players are just around. And again, it takes time because it was every we see that the average level is growing, but still it's with all the improvements. I'm not expecting anyone like you to appear anytime soon.
Okay, that we'll see. Going back to your being a world champion, how was it for you? What was the secret? What was the essence, you think, that you could reach so high? And after that, of course, you were there on the top for so many years.
Oh, reaching the top is one story. So staying on the top is another story. And it's of course. Now, for me, what was very helpful, that's from early days. I learned from my mother that winning is very important, is paramount, but it's also about making the difference. And if you want to make the difference, it means you have to come up with new ideas all the time. Even if you're winning, you still have to compete against your own excellence. And since I also learned from my great teacher, former world chess champion Mikhail Botvinnik, that is analyzing your own games and being, brutally honest with the way you play helps you to find mistakes, inaccuracies that your opponents would have found anyway. So that's why you can always come up with new ideas, and this was like never-ending quest for me to invent new ideas in the openings to improve my game. And since I was always looking at myself as the sort of the ultimate test of the quality of my chess. It's if I lost the game, it's not because my opponent played well, though sometimes it happened. But first of all, I looked at my own mistakes, and this willingness, this desire to always improve my own game helped me to stay on top, because it was not just about winning one tournament, another tournament, 5 tournaments, one world championship match, another world championship match. It was always coming back and with the same passion. With the same even anxiety to be victorious.
Well, the personality you have, the strong character, it was very much seeable and experienced by your opponents. And well, I can even say that you had this special look, kind of a killer look, when you showed up in the game. And I also say to some people when they ask me to describe how was it your personality and your presence at the board, many times I say that for quite a few occasions, unfortunately, I felt that even before making a single move, I've lost the game. And how did you feel, and how much were you aware of your scary appearance towards your opponent? And how was it for you from your side?
No, I was aware because many of my opponents spoke about it. I think the first one who spoke about it was Artur Yusupov in the 80s. He talked about energy and how the energy, you cannot see it, but still how this energy can influence both your opponent, but also somehow miraculously the pieces on the board. So you energize your pieces. So I didn't make any special preparations just to look scary or just to intimidate my opponents. I just I played myself. So I knew one role in the theater. It was Garry Kasparov, and I wanted to improve it. With every game I played. I think the fact is that I was so hungry for a fight, and I never wanted to compromise. I made a few probably quick draws, but I just, but probably 99% of my games, it was just, fight from first to the last move. So I think it's put my opponents under some kind of pressure, because they could feel this passion, this energy, and the willingness to fight to the last pawn, to the last available resource. And many of them, actually most of them, couldn't survive under this pressure.
Well, yeah, I remember, of course, very vividly that when you showed up, everybody noticed it with your speed. You were just going very fast, focused, going into the game. Most of the time, in those times, it was still allowed to be late a few minutes, and you did so for avoiding the more or less 30 cameras flashing on your face for 5 minutes, which was completely understandable. Sometimes I wonder what would you be doing right now in these days. I mean,
time, yes.
But of course, with your preparation, it was this was one thing, that your presence was extremely strong, and people felt this unpleasant way to sit opposite to you, because you were so strong, of course, and your preparation was incredible high. I was always wondering that how did you develop for yourself, and when did it started that you were so ambitious in openings, and that you were always researching the best you can do in different openings, different ideas? Does it come from Botvinnik, or what age were you when you started to take opening so seriously?
No, it started earlier, though Botvinnik's influence cannot be underestimated. But somehow I could trace this passion back to Baku, Pioneer Palace. My first coach, Oleg Privorotsky, he encouraged his students to look into the openings, and it was a, sort of a matter of pride to find a new idea and just to share it with the colleagues, with our with other our chess mates. We were well known in our team in Baku to spend time, of course, at our level, fairly primitive, to analyze some positions, and we always take pride of having something new. And even if our teammate won the game based on our joint analysis, it still made us really happy. And then, of course, it's my work with Alexander Shakarov, who was a great expert in open theory, and so I learned from him, and it's added to my passion. Then Alexander Nikitsyn, so another opening expert. So somehow most of people I work with, they like openings, they like studying openings and finding new ideas. And of course, Botvinnik sealed this package by encouraging me to analyze. Though Botvinnik was not specific about the openings, but analyzing the your own games was absolutely paramount. So, and of course, you want to start with the openings, since openings offered you the best opportunity to exercise your creativity. Though still, I think that it's partially what you said about opening preparation and the impact of my opening preparation to overall result. I think the importance of that is overestimated. If you look at the games, for instance, my match I played with Karpov, you will not, to your surprise, probably, you will not find many games that were decided in the openings from my side. Actually, probably Karpov had even more games where my poor openings or his novelty prepared by his team actually had dramatic effect. So while my opening preparation was very solid and I kept expanding the scope of my research, it was not just the opening and specific ideas, though I can probably mention a few games where my opening preparation played to almost to the end, like beating Vichy Anand in 1999 Linares and Sicilian. So they're definitely the list of games or game 10 in the World Championship match, in Open Ruy Lopez in New York in 1995. But still, it's not just the actual result from this line that we analyzed, but I think the amount of work that I did with my assistants somehow, again, miraculously manifested during the game. I don't know how come, because many of the ideas that we prepared, they were not, they cannot be tested by time. Today, if I look at some of the old analysis and push the button of my computer, machine will be laughing loud. So that's just because
but I think your opening preparation, of course, went into the middle game preparation. And of course, you understood all the ins and outs of the opening. For example, Najdorf, knight g4, which you brought back to everyday life for all of us. I mean, there it was very clear that you knew like 95% what the position is about.
Yeah, but you're right. That's exactly the point. So that's from Botvinnik's, influence. It was not just about finding the move, knight goes here or just, bishop goes there. It's about understanding, so what's happening next. So that's why if my preparation couldn't materialize, I couldn't win the game instantly. So then I still had an advantage because I spent time, feeling the nuances of the position. So that's why very often in the middle game, especially my favorite openings, and my opening repertoire was probably by modern standards very narrow. So I played very few openings. Yeah, but I knew that I had to do a lot of work and just to analyze them well, because otherwise I will be in a great disadvantage, since again my opening preparation was limited to very, very few openings.
Do you think that Magnus Carlsen has also similar approach, and that's why he's so good and so successful, that also he knows more about middle game and end game and the complexity of those openings, what he's playing?
Look, Magnus has a phenomenal natural talent, so which definitely helps, and it's different from mine. So I always said that Magnus is a lethal combination of Karpov and Fischer. Because he has Fischer's passion and fighting spirit, and Karpov's ability to find ideal location for his pieces. like using minimal resources and to achieve maximum result. But I believe that the 1 year that was spent working together in 2009, early 2010, also made great contribution to his rise, because he learned from a very different perspective. So he actually became more universal player, and also that's what I believe was my contribution to his rise. He got a better taste of the openings. That's exactly what you said. So he actually learned, how to prepare in the openings. And I have to say that, these lessons, they worked for him perfectly. And now you can see that, as you said, he's not just, moves, but, he just looks for new ideas. And it's what makes him not just strong, but almost unbeatable, is his ongoing quest to find new ideas. So that Magnus keeps coming up with some new ideas, which is, I have to say, it's probably more difficult today because everybody has access to computers. So that's why Magnus has to look not for just a straight line, but more like a strategic concept. And some of his new strategic concepts are just, are now well spread among chess players.
Well, actually, for me, it was very interesting that time to time there were not too many great, fantastic talents as Carsten, of course. It's not every day that you meet on the corner. But there was this special moment when you asked Kramnik to help you out, support or have some training sessions, I think, during your World Championship match when you played against Anand. And later on, when he took the crown from you later, I was completely convinced that this was also something essential for his victory, that he knew you, he got a little, he could peek into your everyday life, the way you were thinking, the way your worries were, your preparation, because he was only just 16, right? And I believe that many times that for those, or he was already older?
No, he was 95, he was 20.
He was 20. But I strongly believe that for the talents, it is essential, and it really makes a huge difference when they meet up a world champion and they really get an opportunity from close up to see the way they are thinking, their human behavior, to see their judgments, to see the directions where they are digging for ideas, and simply be next to such a successful, bright person. I think it is very much underestimated. What do you think? Would it be different if, let's say, you wouldn't be close to Kramnik when he was younger?
Look, we are in a very shaky ground of hypotheticals. Yeah. Of course, life could be different. In 1992, actually, I think I helped Kramnik's meteoric rise by insisting that he would be included in the Russian national squad, because it was, first year when just everything, was so messy. The Soviet Union collapsed, and there were many new teams, and we had to compose Russian team. And of course, Kramnik's appearance in the team was not guaranteed at all. He was rising star, but many of the top players opposed. And that's, if you remember, that was his phenomenal performance that made him part of the world elite. In 1995, I invited him to work with me at my match with Vishy Anand. I'm not. I think the decision was right. The mistake I made was in 2000, where I decided not to ask top players to join me, because you always need somebody strong, in your team to be a real, opponent. And I was probably overconfident and just, thought that with my team of my, just good assistants, and with more powerful computers, I could do it even without another Kramnik, another strong player who could be sort of a true sparring partner. And that was a mistake. But no doubt that 1995 match played into Kramnik's hands, because he could see, how it worked from inside, and a great deal of his success in the year 2000 was almost guaranteed by his ability to analyze his knowledge, because he was, also, his style is different from mine, but he could be sort of he could be on this line between Kasparov, Kramnik. So he has a great analytical skill, and he has an appetite to analyze, to look for the concepts. And it's not surprising that in our match in 2000, he came up with Berlin's defense, Berlin Wall, that has been abandoned for nearly 100 years, and now this is one of the most, maybe the most popular opening in most of the tournaments, top tournaments. So he could actually, feel the trends and come up with ideas that change our perception of the game of chess.
Well, of course, his preparation was also very famous because he analyzed very deeply. He had even very solid positions he was playing, but he knew all the ins and outs. And but then computers came into the chess life. How do you see? I know you talk a lot in your books also, but how do you see? What were the milestones of chess in the last 20 years? How did it shape what we have now? What were when the engines came, and then later different engines, AI? What effect did it have? I know we would need 10 hours to discuss this, or weeks, but can you make a highlight? Which were the points for you when you realize that we are in a different stage of preparation of everything?
So thank you for saying the last 20 years, because you just put my matches with Deep Blue, so outside of this time period, because it took place in 96, 97. But I would still go back to the 90s, because that was the beginning of this competition, where we could see the chess engines challenging us, first in Blitz, then in rapid chess, and eventually in classical chess. And I think that was our first mistake, because we were all convinced, and we were wrong, of course, that increasing the amount of time for the game could actually help us to beat machines. Not recognizing that it's just, it's more time for us means more time for the machines, and it's not going to change the outcome. I was quite suspicious about our future chances of playing machines after my second match with Deep Blue, but I still had my hopes. And what's happened in the first 5 years of this century, I think that put an end to the idea of human competing with machines. We could see that the rise of machines, chess engines, was unstoppable. And I played 2 more matches. I tied both matches with Deep Fritz and Deep Junior in 2003. And Kramnik, I think, played at least 2 matches also, and he just he drew the first one, and then he lost the second one. And then Mickey Adams was crushed by Hydra, I think 5.5 to half. But at that time, we already could see the power of the chess engines, simply because machines, didn't make blunders and made few mistakes. It's not that machines could outplay us, but they just, they were very consistent. And it's playing against an opponent that has an eternal steady hand. It's virtually impossible. And I think that by 2005, the whole idea of humans playing against machines was abandoned. We just recognized,
well, that is clear that we don't have a chance against the computer, but what do you think? How did it change the game itself in preparation? Like, most of the people are top players. I think they are running the computer 24/7, trying to get new ideas.
No, absolutely. No, it's I remember that, we experimented with computers even as early as 1993 when I played Nigel Short, but it was so primitive, and it just, it didn't make any sense. The first successful use of machine, I remember, was before game 10 against Mish Anand in New York, where I just, wanted to check if the rook sacrifice works. Basically we were guiding the machine, but, it's like, measuring the temperature with a good device. So I was sure that now it works. But still, this is in the late 90s, the machines were not, as good. But I already relied on them heavily, and my preparation for 1999 tournaments that was based very much on the machines. And I think I overestimated the importance of machines analysis in 2000, facing Kramnik, who actually came up with the concept of the opening preparation, while I tried to be more more specific, and it didn't work out. So my last 5 years as a professional chess player, I knew that we had to work just from A to Z with computers. You couldn't analyze the line without having a computer at your elbow. I remember that when I worked with my team with Yuri Dokhoyan and Alexander Shakarov, so at our sessions, I always sat in front of them without a computer. So Yuri had one computer, Shakarov had another computer, but I just tried to play, so that's to make sure that I will not be paralyzed by the screen, which is, by the way, one of the problems of modern chess players, and that's another advantage for Magnus. Magnus always could resist the spell of the computer screen. So he looked at the machine as a way to get confirmation or refutation of his idea, but not searching for ideas from the screen. So, and I think that's definitely makes him quite unique, looking at the younger generation of the players.
Yeah, I think it's important to still know who is the boss and who has what role when you work with the computer and in your preparation. And of course,
yeah, but machine is so much stronger. I mean,
the temptation is high to check it continuously,
yeah,
right?
But I know when we work with kids, at Kasparov Chess Academy, so whether it's in America or in Europe, so we hear it time and again, they just, when they analyze the games and show us the games, any question about, what's happened, ends up with them saying, oh, this is, that's the best move because machine said so. And very often they are not even, they're not able to explain, just in human language. So why? Yes, I say, look, kid, I can see my screen as well, but can you tell me, this is what is the rationale? And sometimes they don't even understand the question because machine said so. So that's like an ultimate, it's the ultimate judge of what's right, what's wrong.
Yeah. Well, actually, can we say that the computers made for you the step making to retirement? Was it also one of the reasons you retired, or how did you get to this idea that you don't want to be competing anymore? Do you had other ambitions, or this was part of it?
No, I probably was lucky because I've been contemplating my retirement, while being on the top for a while. So it's the true story that I tell people that went back back to 1997 when I played Novgorod tournament after losing to Deep Blue, and I'm not sure whether it was at the opening or at the closing ceremony of the tournament, but the journalist asked me, so what's next? You played the machine, so you're a world champion for 12 years. So what do you have in mind? So what's the game plan? So do you have any dreams left? And I said, yes, I have a dream. And at that time, my son, he was just 9 months old. And I said, I would like him to see his daddy winning a tournament and just, having a gold medal just in front of him. So being, a winner at stage. And in 2004, he was 8. And I played my last Russian national championship. And I won the tournament. He was there, I remember just, this little, kid with just, he had a jacket and a tie. Now, look at him, he's a power lifter now, 130 kilos, 190. So I remember and he was there, and I got my gold medal, and I took it off my neck, and I put it on over his neck, and then I just realized that's it. Basically, that's the last thing I wanted, and I already made the decision at the time that Linares would be the final tournament, because also I sensed that I couldn't make the same difference I did before. So it's maybe because machines were just getting so more powerful. Maybe because I just lost the same passion for this ongoing, battle of innovations. I don't know, but it's in my mind, it was something clicked. And I knew that, I would go to Linares. I didn't tell anyone except my mother. So that's why even for Yuri Dokoyan, it was a big surprise. So
Wow.
yeah, when I said it's just, Yuri, basically I told him, after I beat Mickey Adams with 2 rounds to go and basically guaranteed my victory in tournament, I said, Yuri, yeah, I have just, I have an idea. So actually not an idea, it's a plan. I think it was timely. Yeah, because it's just, your life should be about, making difference and just making a contribution. And I'm very, very happy now that, 15 years after my retirement, I'm still not redundant. I have many other things to do in my life, and many friends, whether it's doing lectures on decision-making, human-machine collaboration, and geopolitics, or being, global human rights activists. I'm still relevant. I'm still relevant, and thanks to my wife. So we actually married in 2005. That was just another big transition in my life. So we have 2 kids and a very happy, very rich family life, and that's what helped us, for instance, to go through this crisis during this pandemic. So, which is just, it's always a test when you just, you're in lockdown, whether it's in New York, now we're in Croatia. But because, we have this very strong ties and we have sense of purpose, and I managed somehow to balance my chess fame and connection to the world of chess, that I never broke these connections with the rest of my life. And even occasion, as you know, I play for fun. So to make sure
actually, I wanted to ask you that ever since you retired, do you think about chess every day, or it crosses your mind or on the screen, or you have days when chess is not at all front of you and in your mind?
Most of the days I still think about chess. I just watch, chess games. Look, it's a relaxation. There's people watch something on the screen, so why not to watch chess? And I, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. And also I think it helps my mind to remain operative. It's somehow, it helps with agility. So I can think, I can actually calculate, and I can do well. So it's just a straight line.
Does it give you pleasure to play, because you time to time happen to show up on Blitz or Rapid events, and not long time ago you played it.
Only to lose. Yeah, that's the only place. Yes. Yeah. Does
it give you pleasure?
No. It's this. Playing chess is always a pleasure. I just realized that I have certain limitations based on my age, and I could play some good games, but somehow, I discovered that, I did much better in the preparation, in the games played, like unofficial games, training games, than I did in the tournament. So that's the last tournament I played. So we had a training match with Peter Swindler. We played 16 games, and I beat him convincingly. In the tournament, it's not just, the result was not as good as I wanted, but also somehow, I was not able to perform, at the same level. And I will spoke to Peter, so we'll publish 6 games out of this match, and you can see that I haven't lost my ability to find some interesting combinations and positional ideas. But probably it's a pressure when you are watched by others. You cannot win it back, because it's somehow, it's psychologically, it's this, and going back to what we discussed at the beginning of this conversation, that I was so passionate that people could feel it, that this energy, the tension. Now, I think subconsciously I know that for me, this is no longer a matter of life and death. Okay, I would like to win, but this is not, this is not the end of the world. I can have fun. And I think somehow maybe just, it's a kind of spell of Keisha. But, because I'm not, leading the game. So it always happens at the last minute. Like, you played a match with Caruana last year in St. Louis. It was a live match. And there were moments where I just have to make one more move, and it's a completely winning position. So, and it's, it's like, a curse. Just, probably just, to remind me that, Gary, you don't belong there. So you can still show your strengths. You can make some good moves, play some, nice chess, to remind, young kids that, I still know how to move the pieces. But, I'm not there to win. And I think the goddess of chess is very jealous about those who are trying to enter this her domain without a full dedication to her.
Do you, well, you retired, you still play sometime, but you do a lot of other things. You give lectures, you give master classes, you have lots of engagement. Do you see yourself implementing things what you've learned and experienced in chess and the mindset and the attitude that you're implementing it in your other projects or even writing books?
Oh, absolutely. My chess experience is a very important part of the rest of my life. It's not just world glory, but also so personal knowledge that I managed to transfer into other areas, like human plus machine collaboration in chess that I started by introducing advanced chess in 1998. Now works all over the place in the business world, and people from many different walks of lives, from different businesses and industries, they are quite interested to actually learn, from this experience. I feel that the ability to look at the big picture, to analyze the effect of your action on the queen side, on the opposite side of the board, it's very, very useful these days. Because the world has been, I think, stuck with micromanagement. And now, at the time of the pandemics, we just have to look at the big picture and to understand exactly what to expect in the future, and actually how to improve our chances to build a bright future.
Last few questions. I wanted to ask you that what are the things that you share and teach your kids to? With your experience behind you being a champion, you have passions for other things, you switched, you do on other areas, you do a lot of chess in school projects, you have your foundation all over the world. What is something that you feel that it's essential that you pass on to your kids? You have smaller and older children as well.
Yeah, okay, well, as for all the children, so that's they're 27 and 23, and it's just it's just those already have their own ideas about life, and I'm connected to them. I talk to them regularly. So but I couldn't say that I had so much influence in their lives while they were growing for numerous reasons. I'm very close now with my daughter. She's turning 14 in 4 weeks. And we talked about many things. She's very interested in history, in philosophy, in modern politics. She's a very good writer. So our little son is just turned 5 this July. But I guess we will be also doing many things with him. So with these 2 kids, I believe that I will be able to share my global vision of the world. And now with Aida, we have a lot to discuss. So she's a very voracious reader. It's just like me. She loves consuming information, and we're never short of subjects to discuss.
Well, thank you very much. Well, you have a lovely wife, Dasha. I know her personally, as you were kind enough and once visited our festival together. It was very memorable. And congratulations with your family, your activities. And I would like to wish you all the best and have passion for other things. Thank you very much for being here, Garry.